Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. I hope everyone is having a great day. If not, this video might just turn your day around. Today's topic is going to be about a saying or a question that everyone probably has heard or has questioned before, and it is, does getting old suck? Now, obviously, I am not old per se. I am not in my 60s. I'm not in my 70s, or I'm not even in my 30s yet, right? So, does getting old suck? Now, obviously, why would you listen to a person that is young, quote unquote, right? And well, I would say you should listen to me because I've talked to a lot of older people in my life, and they said pretty much the same thing over and over and over to me again. So, one of the things I want to talk about first before getting to does getting old suck is time. We all know time is a real thing, but I specifically want to talk about your future self. People in life, they kind of, they go to high school, they go through some type of schooling, right? They go to high school and then they say, "Oh, well, I don't know what to do, so I'm going to go to college for a random degree, and then after that degree, I'm going to go get a job in the field or whatever field that is." Well, most people I talk to that are older than me and have gone through schooling in college, um, I've noticed one kind of common theme. They all ended up in a different field that they studied in, right? So they got into, let's say they got a degree in engineering, but then they ended up getting into marketing field or a accounting field, right? Obviously, that's a very basic example because um, they're both involved numbers, obviously. But there's other people that, let's say, went into engineering, but then decided they want to become a conservationist, right? Go conserve land, go work at a wild state park, right? A wild park, or go live in the mountains, right? And what I'm trying to get at here is, like, like you think you have it all planned out and stuff, but 4 years from now, you will be in a different position, and maybe you will be where you planned out. If you stick to your plan, pretty good, then yeah, you might be where you thought you would end up. But I think another thing is you gotta have in mind that you might be in a totally different position. You might be living a totally different life. I've been seeing those TikToks recently of, in 2020, in 2030 or 2035, you'll be on your porch looking out at the sunrise, and you'll have a family and you'll live a different life than you thought of right now. Now, what I'm trying to get at is everything, we all think, some of us, majority of us think that we all have it planned out. Some of us already thinking that, well, I don't have it planned out and I don't know what I want to do. And, what people tell me is just enjoy the journey. That's a video I've been meaning to make again, and it's enjoying the journey. Enjoy the journey of getting old is what they're trying to say to me, even though they don't say it word for word, but yeah. All right, moving on. So, we get older and our mindset changes. I feel like that's the thing that um, is different, obviously, when we get older, is that our mindset, right? Let's say, for example, I'm going to bring content creation into this. Let's say you start a YouTube channel, right? You start it, you're posting maybe for a year or two, and you think, oh man, I love this. This is for fun. And let's say you start getting more money, right? You are able to live off of YouTube. This could be applied to anything. Content creation is just it's the easiest one I can think of. You start living off the revenue, right? And then you start thinking, well, I have to keep this up or else I won't get the revenue, right? And then you start getting attracted to numbers, to the views, to the 1 out of 10 videos, and then you get affected by the 10 out of 10 videos, right? It goes on, right? YouTube really makes it a emotional roller coaster, I would say. So that's why I tell myself, and I think maybe if you're a content creator or an aspiring one, is to turn off the view count, turn off the subscriber count. Or what I do is I cover my eye and I look at not at the subscriber count, but I just look at if my video posted or not. I don't even look at the views, right? Yes, I do look at the comments and I heard the comments, obviously. I always look at my feedback. I always look at what people have to say, right? Obviously, as a small content creator, if you're not getting that much feedback, you will eventually. Just keep consistent. That's the thing that I've learned so far from YouTube, and it is to keep consistent. So over time, your mindset changes, right? In the beginning of this content creation journey, you might say, hey, I'm doing it for fun, or you might say, I'm doing it for money. Doesn't matter what, but whenever you start, let's say making money for content creation or something big changes, then your mindset will change. And then it will kind of get to a point where like, wow, I have to keep coming up with new ideas. And then that's when you kind of, get yourself into a burnout mode, I call it. You kind of psych yourself into burnout, right? Because you see people out there like Mr. Beast, they seem like they have endless burn, like they don't burn out whatsoever. They do. Big content creators definitely burn out. I would say one big one that I've noticed is if you guys know the YouTuber PewDiePie. He's a small content creator, I know. I'm joking. He has like 100 million subscribers which is like crazy. It's a crazy number. Um, I've realized, he was creating these high energy videos, and then, as he getting older, he started a family, he got married, then he started a family, then he moved to Japan, because that Japan lifestyle or I think Japan or China, I think Japan, but that lifestyle is, nice, calm, and quiet, and he posts every so often, every other month or so often. I think what as he gets older, this is my speculation. This is not what he probably is thinking, but if I were like him, I would probably think, yeah, I can't keep posting every like day like this. I'm gonna get burnt out. So he just posts life updates and cool things he's beginning into. I think one thing as people get older, they start to realize that they actually want to do what they care for, which is kind of a crazy thing that we start to realize too late. I feel like, because we grow up, especially in America, you grow up thinking, well, I need to go to school. And I do agree, learning is and should be foundational, but I think the way that it's being taught that's a whole nother bag of worms. But I feel like we come to the realization of when we get old that um, I guess we should do the things that we love, right? And that's what I've kind of gotten from older people that I've asked, and that is don't care about what anyone else thinks and do the things that you love, right? Do that little dream that your kid self had, right? If you want to be an astronaut, follow the pathways, do the research, right? And that's why that's how kind of your mind changes over the years. Now, obviously, people realize these things, and they're simple things, right? They're like, don't care about what other people think. Do the things that you love, right? They're simple things. And, I feel like we're told that nowadays, but then at the same time, we're also stressed out because we're young, I guess, and we need to figure this, and this out. And then on top of all that, there's social media. Social media shows you people's best lives at their best moment, right? But then as you get older, you start to realize that social media stuff is kind of fake in a sense. All of it's kind of fake. They're putting on a show to get your entertainment. And then you kind of start racking away. You start going down the path of reading books and all that stuff. This is what's happening to me right now. I'm starting to realize that, sitting down the phone and picking up a good book could be about anything you want. It could be even about Minecraft. Pop open a Minecraft book even. Just something entertaining. Now, obviously, something away from the phone is what I will say. Pick something that is away from the phone and social media. Because, obviously, social connection is good as you get older. Having social connections and not being alone is good. But at the same time, too much, like social media, it can be a lot and it can be too much. And one thing I really want to talk about, or one thing I guess I can answer now is, does getting old suck? I'd say no. My answer to that question is no. Some of you might say yes because you're getting older and your body starts crippling, kind of. Or your body starts, I guess, not as strong or not as fast it would be. But here's why I think when someone says that. You've probably seen people in their 60s running marathons, in their 70s doing the things that they love, right? And it's like, why would you say no to does getting old suck? I or why would you say yes if getting old sucks? Not no. And I think, like when you're older, you have life experience, right? You have memories you can look back upon. You have things you want to try, new things you want to try. And as you get older, things around you will change. And that change can be good, can be bad, but that change will bring new things, right? So, overall, what can you learn from this video? Getting old doesn't suck. And getting old can open up a lot of doors for a lot of new things. Allows you, getting old allows you to try a lot of new things in life. And that's why people push for you to have start the healthy habits now so that when you're older, you're able to do the things that you love, right? I've heard this quote the other day, and it's live the life you want to live because you only get one. I believe with that. And then I heard another quote from this is all from TikTok. Well, not all of it, but one of them is from TikTok. One of them is from I think YouTube somewhere. I forget, but I've heard this one, and it's uh, if you live a very very good life, you will only want to live that life. It's kind of a I can't fully wrap my head around that one. Yeah, I'm still thinking about it, and but it's kind of inspiring. You want to live such a good life that you only want to live this one. And then obviously when you die, I don't know, that's a big term there. You obviously you go to heaven and you go see God and all that stuff. And another thing is when you get older, you start to realize that giving back to the community is good. That's why you see a lot of old people in the communities and stuff. Now, when I say old people, I'm just talking to everyone in general because we're all getting older every day at the end of the day. Every second, we're aging closer. We're aging just a little bit further day by day. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying every day you wake up, you're a little bit older, you're a little bit wiser, and you have a new day to do new stuff. All right. I hope every single one of you has a good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and good night. And I hope every single one of you can find peace in your lifetime.